When I think best anime moments ever, I'm thinking like fight scenes, badass scenes. Lately, after doing a certain video series that a lot of people actually liked and kind of shaped my channel into something relatively epic, if I do say so myself, I think of the best flexes in anime. When anime characters flex on their opponents so hard, I just have to talk about them in a video. And then I was like, how do I top that? How do I flex on the idea of anime flexes? And fam, realization dawned. Welcome, women, gentle women, people of all ages, to the biggest overkills in anime. I am so proud to have actually come up with a way to top everything I've been doing in anime until this point. Bruh, I hope you're ready for not some flexes. No. I mean, they may be flexes as well, but I love these scenes so much. Let's just get started. And I mean, this is episode 1. I just thought of this, so we're gonna be doing it. And you know the rule. If you like it, smash a like. And let's say if this gets 50,000 likes, I will be working on part 2. There are less overkills in anime than flexes, so they are harder to come across. But that said, they are actually even more fun. I love talking about this stuff. First overkill! And whenever I think of overkills, this is probably one of the top 5 things to pop in my mind. It's our boy Madara from Naruto kicking some Kage to his man. When they hyped the introduction of Madara, we did not expect it to reach this ridiculous level. Like, until this point, everyone was thinking Tobi was Madara, and he was really strong and flexed on the Kage in the past. Now, I would say that when Tobi invaded the 5 Kage summit and declared war on all of the Kage, that was a huge flex. Tobi flexed on the 5 Kage, but Madara overkilled them. If you actually look at the fight that went down between Madara and the Shinobi Alliance, it was much more than just a flex. It, in fact, was an overkill. He started off just popping in to this massive swath of ninjas. Thousands of ninjas, bruh! And he beat them all with taijutsu. Now, I would say that since, as we know, Edo Tensei reincarnations have an infinite amount of chakra up to the base level of the caster of the Edo Tensei, he could have technically dropped the meteor without worrying about chakra preserves. One meteor would have wiped out that entire army of ninja, but he decided, nah fam, I'm gonna beat them up with taijutsu. He jumps in there, and one of my favorite scenes in all of Naruto is him just pummeling red shirt characters that we will never see again, because presumably Madara does a really good job when he tries. Now, I would say that Madara attacking all of these men and women. Madara don't judge. Madara is a true advocate for gender equality. He'll beat up man and women. Mad respect, Madara. Be like Madara, guys. But this mad lad fought them with taijutsu. Now that is a huge flex. I appreciate the massive flex that Madara showed us all. But you want to talk about overkills? That's fighting the Kage. He was toying with them and went way further than he needed to. He drops a meteor, and then he drops the second meteor. He did not need the second meteor. He could have just run in there. But that's not even close to what I'm getting to. I think that one of the biggest flexes in all of Naruto was when Madara actually told all the Kage, alright guys, we've been fighting for a good few minutes until this point. You just let me know. Do you want all of my wood clones to also make Susanos or not? To which the Kage all collectively shat themselves, because that is a terrible idea for them. They were having a hard enough time with the wood clones without the Susanos. Damn it. Yeah, topple on one of the most broken jutsus in the entire series onto every single wood clone. Yeah, that might have posed a problem. Madara is suggesting to the Kage that they should let him know if he should use the Susanos. That's a huge flag. Overkill is when he used perfect Susanoo. We all know very clearly that if stupid little Madara would have gone the wood clone Susanoo route, and remember, he has infinite chakra as an Edo Tensei, he would have had absolutely no problem just manhandling and fodderizing the Kage. The fact that he went the extra minute to say, oh yeah, you know how Uchiha are broken because we can make these massive skeleton monster Susanoo guys? Yeah. What if my Susanoo made a Susanoo, which I like to call perfect Susanoo? Yeah, bro. That was overkill. He completely demolished everyone in a second. He did not need to go that far, but he did literally to flex on them. That's right. Overkills are indeed a niche variety of flex that rears its head so much less often, but it's so beautiful. But again, I do not want to spend this entire video just talking about Madara's overkills. I don't want to talk about some other overkills as well. And fam, I'm just getting started, bro. Because another overkill was definitely Jason versus Kaneki from the final episode of Tokyo Ghoul Season 1. So, you want to hear a huge flex? A huge flex is me telling you that Tokyo Ghoul Season 1 is 2, and then subsequently telling you that Tokyo Ghoul Season 3, Season 2, and Season 4 are all garbage in that order. There, just flexed on an entire fandom of Tokyo Ghouls who mindlessly swarm after a series that got the worst adaptation treatment of all time. This is so sad. Kaneki versus Jason, though, that was overkill. After Jason was torturing Kaneki for quite a while, and we all wanted Kaneki to get his just desserts, he fought Jason Jason. He was doing a bang-up great job. He was destroying him. And after beating Jason, where Jason had absolutely no chance of survival, and it was all over, Kaneki went the extra steps to really make him feel defeated. As Kaneki walks up to him and starts hacking away at his body on the ground, and he's writhing in pain, Kaneki says, "Yo, bro, what's 1,000 minus 7? The very same torture mechanic that Jason used on Kaneki. Now, this is a huge flex. The overkill is how wild Jason, this absolute monster psycho serial killer, while he's counting in the same torturous fashion that he forced Kaneki to do right before, Kaneki gave into his ghoul side and ate him alive. That was overkill. Next overkill! Duro Monster Kado! I think we're all familiar with Yu Gi Oh! You know, an anime about children's card games fighting the world and potentially one of the most realistic plot lines of all time. Yeah, we're on the same page here. So, in the Orichalcos arc, which was arguably the worst arc in the history of original Yu Gi Oh!, Yugi was up against a little-known character called Weevil Underwood. And that was my best voice impression of the guy. Sorry. I've actually gotten people in chats asking me to please do voice impressions of Weevil Underwood, and my answer to that was, okay. Yeah, I'm easygoing like that. I don't mind humiliating myself. That's basically what my channel is. And yes, I know I promised to do an anime voice impression video, and I will be doing it live on Twitch, so if you'd like to follow me there, that would be amazing. Link in the description. But anyway, Yugi was fighting Weevil. Everything was great. They were playing a card game. Of course, you know, it was one of those typical card games like we've all played in the past. We've all played Yu Gi Oh for each other's souls. I mean, that's basic 4th grade Yu Gi Oh, am I right? And of course, Yugi was obviously winning because, well, he's Yugi. And let's just say we head into overkill territory really fast. He comes up with this ridiculous combo that makes absolutely no sense, but that's okay. It's not like a story about card games should actually follow the rules of the card games or anything, right? Anyway, he activated a card, Heart of the Underdog or something, which allowed him to continue drawing cards, and every time he draws a monster, his monster can attack once again. Pretty typical stuff. It's absolutely garbage card because every time I've ever used it as a kid, I've always drawn a trap card. But anyway, it worked for Yugi, and every time he would draw a card, he would attack again, even once Weevil's life points hit 0. He was so infuriated by this little pest of a character. Even though every attack on your opponent's life points with your hologram does actual damage to his nervous system or something, I mean, you know, again, typical 4th grade Yu Gi Oh! You know, you're both sitting there, chained to a table, dueling, where there's one big guy behind each player. Every time you do damage to your opponent's life points, the big guy behind him just whacks him over the head with a club. I'm sure we've all done this. I'm not telling you anything new right now. But anyway, every time he would draw a card, Duro Monster Kado! So he gets another attack on Weevil Underwood, and he continues hacking away at him again and again and again, and his rage consumes him. Since at this point in the story, the Pharaoh lost Little Yugi, and even though Little Yugi sounds like a nickname for the Pharaoh's penis, I in fact mean just like a shorter version of Yugi. Although it would have been a massive twist if, in fact, Little Yugi the entire time was just the Pharaoh's penis. I would have been way into that. I mean, into that as far as the story goes, not into that as far as the character. You know what I'm talking about! And even if you don't, you'll probably make me regret what I say anyway. So, point is, this was massive overkill. The fact that he kept attacking him even after he won, just to continue inflicting pain through the power of holograms, drawing another card and another card, every single one being a monster card, again and again and again, continuously flexing on poor little Weevil. But this wasn't just any mere flex. This was an overkill. Weevil was done, and he still had to attack him another 10 times, literally to vent. I think overkills in anime is basically attributed to either a massive flex for the sake of hyping your own ego, or using your opponent as your personal therapist, venting your frustrations on them. Very cool anime, teaching us valuable lessons at such young ages. If you're ever really stressed about anything, the best way to take out that frustration is go to the basement of your local Walmart to the cage matches that take place every Tuesday night at midnight and have yourself a fun, dandy time. Is it just me or were my jokes on point today? I don't know. Definitely don't answer that in the comments. Thanks for your support, because I couldn't just like talk about overkills and not talk about JoJo's. Am I right? We've all seen JoJo's. We all know which scene I'm talking about. In fact, y'all probably don't because there's so many. But I've selected this one. It's a little known fight between Jotaro Kujo from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 3 and his little battle against this rat bastard named Steely Dan. Let me tell you something about Steely Dan, okay? This guy is a massive dick and deserved all the beating he got. No No pun intended. That was a lie. Of course, pun was intended. Whoever says no pun intended is a liar or someone who just happens to really be freaking lucky, coincidentally coming up with puns all the time. Which is more believable to you? That's right. Flexing on people that say no pun intended. Of course, the pun was intended. Freaking douchebags. Anyway, a little bit of backstory on the wonders of Steely Dan. Steely Dan, bit of a dick. I think we've already mentioned that. Deserves a beating. Yeah. We've already covered that pun. Point is, his stand the power seems very underwhelming. It's just this really small stand called the Lovers. Some people pronounce it Rovers, but they're clearly wrong. And this really tiny stand flies in through the ear of Grandpa Joestar into his brain and can kill him at any point in time. So when they locate Steely Dan's like, aight fam, I can kill Grandpa, like right now, no problem. So you kind of have to do everything I want you to, or Grandpa will die. So it's Jotaro, being a man of culture who would never let Grandpa die, became his bitch for like a good full episode. He had Jotaro do some really shady things that got him really humiliated in public. I mean, humiliation in public is probably one of the worst things ever, not that I would know about it. It's not like I'm humiliated in public daily to have experience with the matter. It kind of sucks, low-key, but like, he made Jotaro do some really disgusting things just to stomp all over his dignity. And when I said stomp on his dignity, pun was intended. He made Jotaro be a bridge over a little ravine type thing that he can walk over his strewn body just to humiliate him in public when a bridge over that very ravine was just a few feet away. And that's just one small example of all the dickery that Steely Dan was causing over the entirety of the episode. I would like to say that getting punched in the face was absolutely warranted, and it happened like 1,000 times in the blink of an eye. It was beautiful. Basically, at the end of the arc, when they managed to yoink his stand out of the brains of Grandpa Joestar, Jotaro had no reason to hold back. Jotaro just turns to Steely Dan and was like, oof, I'm going to orgasm so much from this. Okay, that's not exactly what he said. I'm kind of ad-libbing a little bit, but you got the idea. He was pretty happy with the turn of these tables, and Steely Dan was not. So he immediately beats the crap out of Steely Dan, where anyone in their right mind would say, okay, I completely surrender, please give up. And Steely Dan did say that because he's not out of his right mind. Jotaro then turns around because he's not going to beat up this defenseless, defeated, broken man, right? Steely Dan turns out, whoa, my hypothesis was right. In fact, he is a dick. He pulls a little knife out of his pocket to try to take down Jotaro. Don't try to take down Jotaro, fam. That never worked. Unless you're a mouse. Anyway, Jotaro obviously is not going to get caught off guard by a little knife and proceeds to continue to punch him. And he doesn't just punch him once, not just twice. Punches him like a good million times. He beats the crap out of him so much, he sends him flying and breaks down the wall of the house he crashes in. But the beauty is, he kept punching even after his opponent was defeated. He arguably kept punching after his opponent was already killed, just showering him with the complete satisfaction of this turn of events, where finally I can beat the crap out of this man as much as possible. And the beauty is, after he was completely defeated, Jotaro wrote him a receipt, and the episode ends where Jotaro's walking away, and the receipt is blowing in the wind, flying right to Steely Dan's motionless body. Jotaro punching the living schnizzle out of Steely Dan is one of the greatest experiences of my life, and it's a reason why everyone should be watching JoJo's for amazing overkills like this. Now, I hope you're ready for the 5th overkill. The 5th kill. No, that sounded really stupid. Note editor, please cut out when I said 5th kill. It sounded really dumb. No. And now we'll be talking about Sayo from Overly Cautious Hero. Now, Overly Cautious Hero is my favorite isekai anime to come out since Konosuba, and it is absolutely hilarious. You know how the generic isekai world is? There is a goddess who sees the entire fantasy world is in danger. The goddess must summon forth a hero who happens to be some loser from our real world to gather a harem, become overpowered, face the demon king, and destroy him. Well, this followed that very same generic formula, but it was kind of making fun of the whole thing, which is a huge flex. The hero that they call is this guy named Sayo, and the reason why she calls Sayo is because his stats are like ridiculously high. Nothing could go wrong with a hero who has stats so ridiculously high, right? I love this show. So this show's called the Overly Cautious Hero because this mad lad is gonna make sure he's gonna win a fight when he gets into that fight. Before even going into the fantasy world, he stays in the goddess's purgatory type place to just work out for days. He has the goddess bring him food and she's flipping out because she wants an adventure, and this guy's just doing sit-ups and squats. The mad lad does this for so long, he levels himself high enough to not need to worry about anything he comes across. When he actually enters the fantasy world, man, to say this guy is ready, that's an understatement. When he goes to buy armor, and of course the goddess is like, I'll buy you your first set of loot. He's like, perfect. I would need 3 armors. 1 armor to wear, 1 armor in case it breaks, and a 3rd armor in case I lose the 2nd armor. This guy is hilarious. I love Sayo. As far as isekai protagonists goes, he's one of the tippy top, and potentially one of my favorite protagonists of the last year. Anyway, the first enemy he encounters on this lovely journey is a slime. You know, typically the lowest level monster that you could actually find, and it was. So the slime absolutely sucks, and Sayo walks up to it, and is just like raining hell down upon the poor thing. So first, when they see the slime, he jumps behind a rock to like peek at it from a distance to make sure it doesn't make any sudden moves. It's like this little stationary blob, and the goddess is obviously flipping out. And when he actually fights it, he kills it in 1 second, and then proceeds to unleash his entire magical arsenal upon this slime, raining down literal hell upon this dead slime to make sure it can't regenerate. By the time he's done overkilling this slime, there's a massive crater in the ground where this slime used to be. Overly Cautious Hero is absolutely hilarious. It's what if you actually played the isekai game smart, and well, sometimes it takes smart to slight extremes, because I don't know if this was necessary, but that's what makes it an overkill, because it absolutely wasn't necessary. When he ends up fighting one of like the ultimate demon general guys, he does a great job with that as well. Now, I'm not spoiling anything past episode 2, because I highly recommend you people checking it out, since I know it's kind of an underground anime. Man, I do not envy his opponents. This guy was hiding his levels from his teammate, so his teammate, in case she would get mind read by some enemy villain, would see his true levels, so he actually hid his strength from her as well. And even though he had enough stats to actually take down his opponents, he still left in case the opponent was also hiding their stats. Like, this guy thinks of everything. And it's hilarious because he's so often right. And when he eventually defeats this demon general Whammon in a very flamboyant fashion, and the entire village is coming to him with like gifts, like, oh my god, you're so amazing, you've defeated enemy general demon Whammon. And they're like, they want to praise this guy. He's like, everyone, don't come near here. I don't know, maybe she'll regenerate. And he proceeds to rain hell upon the corpse of demon Whammon. Not until there's nothing left. No. Until he actually destroys the entire town he was fighting to protect, just for the sake of overkilling his opponent for the sake of cautiousness. It is so funny. I love this show. And the fact that he goes out of the way to overkill any opponent he comes across, and then immediately duck back into the goddess dimension to do more push-ups. Man, that is some next level skill right there. And this is the entire anime. But not that it repeats its gags. No. It makes its gags bigger. This anime flexes on every previous episode by how cautious he is and why it actually makes sense somehow. Man, I recommend Overly Cautious Hero to all of you if you're looking for a quick 12-episode anime to just binge, because it is a lot of fun and no one talks about it. But anyway, these were 5 pretty epic overkills. I have a few more in store in case y'all want me to make a part 2. So if you do, like button. You know how to use it. Just click it and it turns blue somehow. I don't know. I haven't figured it out yet. But when it turns blue, and when it's turned blue by like 50,000 people, Biggest Overkills in Anime Part 2 will be out within a week. And let's just say, I didn't exactly use my best material for this video. I've saved some really good ones for the next one. So again, overkill that like button. Smash subscribe if you haven't yet and you want to see future videos where I talk about anime, I talk about whatever I really want, and I proceed to flex on the entire internet with my glory. Thank you all so much for staying until this point. Let me know in the comments future overkills in anime you want me to talk about. Hope you enjoyed this new series trying to take anything to the next level. Link to my Twitch and Twitter in the description. Feel free to check them apples out. But most importantly, remember to stay weird, fam.